Alicia Bognanno from Bully, and I am here for Premier Guitar's Big Five. My favorite guitar is the first one I got. I got it as a gift like 8 years ago now, and I'll just grab it. Here it is. It's so pretty. It's kind of a Frankenstein guitar. It's a Squire 51 body, and then the neck is this guy in Nashville called Bluesman Vintage. And I haven't been to the shop. He reached out a few years ago, and I need to go in. But it's I'm usually always on the humbucker all the time, but it's awesome. It's crunchy and low and thick, and I just love it. It feels really good. I keep my action pretty low, and I've got it's pretty much just been everywhere with me. I haven't been able to, I have a bunch of other guitars, but this is just, I think, maybe sentimental value. And it's sentimental because it was a gift, but also it was the first guitar that I used with Bully. So it's been my number one Bully guitar. And so it's just, sounds corny, but it's been with me through so much. And I think a huge reason is because I've written most Bully songs on it. I mean, probably all. So that just, is hard to compare to anything else. It means a lot to me. I try and not get too attached to any sort of material items, but if this disappeared, I would be heartbroken. It's the one thing. There's a couple other things, but that is really close to me. I've had a lot of work done on the neck, just cleaning it up and tweaking it, and there's different pickups in it than there were originally. I get it set up usually when I get back from tours, or before I leave. So it's always kind of got something going on, but I haven't done any crazy modifications. So my Desert Island album, I thought about this a bunch, and now I'm shit, I probably should have switched it to something happier. But I just went with one of my all-time favorite albums, which is Pod from the Breeders. I just think it's a really powerful album, and it has a lot to do with me getting into music, and so it's very dear to my heart. I love the whole record, in and out, and I'm usually try and, good songs are good songs, and you don't have to have it sound sonically perfect, whatever or however that means to you, but it sounds great on top of it, and I feel the way it was tracked really favors to the songs and the emotion behind them and stuff, and it's dark and it's cool, and I think it got horrible reviews when it came out. So it makes me like it even more. I think it's such a good record. I think Kim Deal is just such an icon, and her voice is incredible, so her own, doesn't really sound like anybody else, I guess except her twin sister, but yeah, I don't know, I just think it's a great record. I would love to talk about my guitar culture pet peeve. I have so many. I just think everybody needs to chill the fuck out. The pretentiousness of it, it's not doing anybody any good. Playing guitar, especially electric guitar, and messing with pedals, it is such a good way to express yourself and have an outlet. And you just never want to have any sort of pretentious atmosphere around that. It should be open for anybody to feel comfortable playing and getting into it. And just because you're not a total shredder doesn't mean, you could play guitar all day, but it doesn't mean you could write a good song. So I think that people should stop kind of putting it on a pedestal as far as how technically savvy they are, or knowledgeable they are about everything they're doing and they're playing, because when it comes down to it, it's just a form of art and expression, and there shouldn't be any rules. And as somebody who comes from having no music theory background, who started playing late, I know what it feels like to be really self-conscious about playing and thinking you're not good enough. I think I even did something I don't remember exactly which guitar blog it was, probably you guys, but it was it's something about your first riff or something, and it's just I'm pretty sure one of the comments were nice first learning riff, or amateur riff, and I just I knew it was going to happen. I was just like, I know that about guitar culture. It's kind of similar. I have an audio engineering background, and it's like pretty similar to that. Though I feel like nowadays the people I know who engineer are a lot cooler and more laid back. But that whole like, you know, whatever, pretentious kind of like has to be this and that has to be a shredder. It's like, well, a shredder to you is different than like somebody else. And like a lot of my favorite guitar parts isn't someone being like, it's like what's creative and what sounds cool and what's like catering to that song. There's so much more than like how quick you are on the fretboard or like how quick you are to do a scale or like your knowledge of all that stuff. And I just think that culture, any sort of like intimidation around that is so, it's just a disservice to everybody involved and everybody wanting to get into it. And you should like want for kids to feel welcome to anything, because having music when you're growing up is like essential, you know. It's an outlet. It's like a form of therapy, and all should be welcome all the time. And that really goes for everything. But the guitar world needs to work on that for sure. I think when I first started putting out music, I was like hyper aware of like what everybody thought. And I was so insecure and self-conscious when I started playing guitar, because I started in Nashville, which is like the kids here were, I grew up in a small Rosemount, Minnesota, and it's like I didn't know anybody in bands. Like I never went to shows. It's just like it wasn't a thing like at all. And for me to even do what I'm doing now is insane. You know, I didn't come from like a musical family. I didn't have like, it was all just something that I totally was so passionate about and wanted to make happen. And in Nashville, it's like there's 15-year-olds they grow up going to house shows. Like they know how to like do stuff. They grow up around music. They grow up in studios, and not all of them for sure, but it's just like part of the culture here. So like, you know, me being 22 or like 23 and kind of just started playing when I was like 19, it just, especially playing in Nashville, I was just so self-conscious. Like my hands would just shake the whole time. And then I just got to a point where I was like, fuck that. Like, what am I doing? What am I trying to prove? And I'm first and foremost a songwriter, you know, and I appreciate guitar because it's like the tool I have to feel like I can really get the type of song that I want to write or that's inside of me out, as corny as that sounds. But like, I don't care. I know a lot of times too, when people are like throwing around negative comments on the internet anywhere, it's just like, you probably have something that you need to like, you know, sort out within yourself, and that's totally fine. But I'm just like not going to take this personally, because I just got to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not here to compete with anybody. Mostly, I mean, I'd lose anyway. I'm not like, I know where I'm at with guitar. It's not, but I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not going to get discouraged. I do what I do with it, and I'm happy. I don't think it's surprising or shocking as much, but like Joseph Santiago from the Pixies is just, some of that guitar stuff just like, oh, it just makes me feel like a certain type of way that no other songs do. Like what it does for the songs is just insane, and I don't even know how to describe it. And the parts that I love aren't even, you know, like him shredding. It's just like the notes that he chooses to play and how he plays them and how he's using his pickup, whether or not he's like screaming in it or playing in it. It's just, whatever he plays, it feels so good. And it's so specifically its own thing. It doesn't sound like anything else to me. It doesn't. It truly doesn't. I don't know what it would have sounded like without his guitar parts. Truly. I mean, those are such a huge part of how they sound. Oh, wait, can I add one more guitar player? Okay, this guy's name is Graham Hunt. He's out of Milwaukee. He was in a band called Midnight Reruns. He now has his own things. And he is just like a force. He's a force live, 100%. And his guitar parts are like the hooks. They're basically like the hooks of the song. They're so good. It's just like, he's not just playing. He's like figuring out every part and how it can stand out. And he's not just playing to play like throughout the songs. It's really tasteful about where it comes in and how powerful it is. And just any music he makes, it's just, yeah, I think it's so cool. And he's not, you know, he's not like a super big famous person. He's just like a really talented human being I know, but his guitar playing is out of control. I love it. I think he's so talented. My secret weapon is it's probably corny for me to show a pedal, but it's true. Like I kind of thought when I read that question, I applied it to Bully and musically, but this, I have it right here. This Little Samson by Greer Amps is like my go-to. I use it for pretty much everything, and I love it because it's just, I hate myself for using these words, but it's like really thick and beefy and crunchy, and for that reason I can like use it when I'm writing bass parts, because a lot of bass parts I write, I'm just like want them to be so just like distorted and heavy, and then I can also use it at for all my guitar stuff, and it doesn't scoop out any of the lows. It like keeps it right there, and it works really well with my Squire because that's also like a really thick kind of like crunchy thing. And then also with my Bassman head, it's just honestly all those things together are probably like too muddy for anybody else, but I just love it. I think it's so cool. And also this pedal has like, I've put this pedal through hell. I mean, I've put it through so many tours, but other than that, and the Westwood from Earthquakers is like my second favorite distortion. And I have so many distortions, but those seem to like cater to your tone in a way where they're like distorting the tone you already have instead of like completely changing the frequency of it and like scooping and adding. It's just kind of like, here's what you have. We're just going to fully distort this instead of like, yeah, when it like scoops out lows and stuff, I'm just like, no, I don't want to mess with that. So that, and then I didn't even plan on talking about this pedal, but it's right here because I just tore apart a good amount of my pedal board. I just got back in town. But the Black Tiger from Greer Amps, I only use one of the sides, just the trails, but it's like a feedback pedal. But the thing about it is I use it for so much noise in between records and in between songs, and you can like controlling the feedback can sound like this really just awesome noise. And like when I did a lot of solo performances because of quarantine, I would turn this on and it would just like create a bunch of noise underneath and then take it off after the chorus. For that, it's just really cool. It's like a gradual feedback, so you can like turn it on, wait till it builds up. When it gets out of control, just like click it off, and it's really cool. I use it a lot. It's not just like strictly a pedal when I'm playing live. It's like used as an instrument in its own way. I'm not sponsored by Greer Amps. I'm not like, I should say that. I like their pedals. I think they're great. And then there's another pedal that I love for holding sound. The last time we were touring, I just made the whole set so I didn't have to speak at all. So like every time I finished a song, I would like put on a freeze pedal or put on like a looper and then put on my freeze pedal and just freeze it and tune and then kick it all off when I was going to start again. But the Electro Harmonics freeze pedal, I love it for that reason, though it's broken on me like 3 times on tour. I literally have 3 of those pedals I bring, but it's a cool extra thing to have to like add more character to like whatever you're playing, and also to be used in other ways other than strictly a guitar pedal during a song. It's like something that I use in between that I think adds a lot to the set. Or maybe I could just talk and that would add more, but to me it's like a lot more fun to not have to speak to anybody.